Welcome to a special edition of TeeVo and The Beard.
You can't see it, but I am TeeVo. Yes, I am here, and that is The Beard. I am back.
Yes.
This time I was not on a special assignment.
For people who don't read our Instagram,
Yes.
Would you like to tell them why you missed Beard the musical?
I was heartbroken that I missed Beard the musical, but life happens, and life decided to happen the night before in the form of a car accident.
Okay.
I am okay, not dead. Otherwise, this is a very...
I was about to say, yeah, I'm having a Fight Club type
Yeah.
type show here.
But I'm okay, and we'll let life roll out what will happen next.
But
Don't want to get into specific details, but
Yeah.
essentially, I am okay. I am here for you.
You're okay, but the TeeVo mobile not
Oh, the TeeVo mobile is I
out of commission.
I think it's out of commission.
Okay.
I think it would not be worth fixing.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
But
We'll see it all how it rolls out.
Yeah. People are hearing this on Thursday instead of Tuesday because you've seen a couple things and you
Yes.
want to let our audience know about them. And
Well, I at least wanted to talk about one of them the previous episode.
Right.
But
Yeah.
as I said, life happens.
So we're going to talk about two things that I have not seen, and that's White Guys Know Kung Fu, and the Breakfast Club Rangers.
Yes.
So,
and coat and working title, Iron Fist.
Iron Fist.
And Power Rangers.
Power Rangers, yeah. Nobody knows them by those titles, though. But so first we're going to talk about why every white guy in the Marvel Netflix universe knows Kung Fu.
Well, okay, so for those who haven't been paying attention, you know, Iron Fist.
If this is your first episode.
Yes. If you are cognitive in, the pop culture, especially geek culture, you would know that Iron Fist has not been getting good reviews.
No,
and
0%.
still is not getting
Yeah.
warm reception. Or at least maybe there are, and it's boring to read the good stuff. People want to see the bad stuff.
Right.
That's human nature.
Yeah. Schadenfreude.
Yeah. But, I love the Marvel Universe. I love the Marvel Netflix shows.
Yeah.
Before we watched it, not me and my buddy, buddy, not the Beard.
Yeah, the Beard has not seen either one of these
But
things.
I kept thinking, and I said this in the previous episode that I was in, it can't be that bad.
Right, because at that time it had a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Based on a preview of half the episodes.
Right.
So people were rating this and trashing it online without actually watching the show.
No context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just refused to believe that was that bad. So on St. Patrick's Day, they released the show.
Right.
And my St. Patrick's Day plan was to watch the entire show.
Yeah.
And you know what?
To which you did.
I did.
Yeah.
And the reaction was, I don't see what the problem is.
Okay.
I was engaged, throughout the show. Sure, the first episode or two, had the growing pains. Well, it's the first episode.
Origin story.
You got to set up at least the origin or just set up the show.
Right.
And you have to, give all the characters. They all have to do something, just so you know them. So when they come back, you're not like, who's that guy again?
Well, what's the, because this is, I'll even put it on the description of this show. This is definitely going to be a spoiler cast.
Oh, it's all spoiler, both.
All spoiler all the time.
So.
No warnings whatsoever.
Yeah.
But give our audience who might press pause right after you do this and go check it out, what is the 30-second plot synopsis?
Danny Rand, billionaire kid, got lost in the Himalayan mountains after he was in a car crash where both his parents died.
Okay.
Kung Fu monks took him in.
Of course.
He stayed there for 15 years, trained with them to become the Iron Fist, comes back to New York to defeat the Hand and resume somewhat normal life.
Okay, so these are all normal powers he has. He's not inhuman or
No.
metahuman or mutant or anything like that.
He harnesses his chi to create the Iron Fist.
Okay.
And sure, that sounds ridiculous, but hey.
It's a comic book show.
It's a comic book show. Well, two things that bothered me, well, I wouldn't say I read reviews, I just kind of skimmed them to see a general feeling. Because some of them went on rants.
Oh, I can
imagine. But how do you go on a rant if you haven't seen the whole show? So
leave it to the internet. They'll find a way.
Well, what was disheartening was, some of these were people I, somewhat look forward to
Okay.
And would think that...
So you're not just talking about like random...
No,
people.
these were, somewhat, I'm doing air quotes, legit, reviewers.
Right.
Who were giving it garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And two things that a common theme I at least saw was that, Danny Rand was cast as a white guy.
Right.
Which I thought immediately when I heard that backlash going, well, Danny Rand is a white guy.
Yeah. So
what's the problem?
Yeah.
And then second of all...
Because white guys cannot know Kung Fu. That is the rule. It is impossible for us to learn it.
And then the second thing was, everybody couldn't help but mention, oh, well, it's not like Daredevil, it's not like Jessica, it's not like Luke. And
none of those three shows are like each other.
Exactly. So why is it important for Iron Fist to suddenly be like them? Mm-hmm. So when you're already mad at the casting, you're already going to judge it by its predecessor shows. Mm-hmm. My mind, it's doomed to fail.
Yeah, so
in your mind. So
automatically the highest it can get is a 50.
Yeah.
So anything it does negative, you're just going to keep deducting points.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I watched all 13 hours. Once the show got going, which really was the second episode to me.
Okay.
There was not a moment where I was bored or couldn't believe what I was watching.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that was reviewed about the first 6. Oh, it took so long to get anything. When you get something, you're not really getting much. Oh, I can't believe.
What were they expecting from this?
I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. But I watched the first 6, and me and my other friend were like, I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah.
And we kept going.
Yeah.
And it got more and more exciting. Yeah. And so, not that you should listen to me, because much like the other people...
But they are listening to us. They hit play and...
Not that you have to watch Iron Fist,
right.
But much like how I elected not to listen to the other people who reviewed it. Mm-hmm. You don't have to listen to me, but if you're listening and you're intrigued, it was not that bad.
Yeah. Which is a great review right there. It's not that bad.
Comparatively, and I speak in context of the other reviews,
right.
It's not that bad. However, if you had to make me rank the shows...
Oh, and I will.
If you had to...
Yeah.
First of all, Daredevil has a huge advantage because it was first.
Right, it's like the first Iron Man.
Yeah, there is advantages to coming out first. Mm-hmm. So, season 1 of Daredevil ranks pretty high for me. Okay. And then, Jessica... blew that out of the park. Yeah. To be such a different show from Daredevil. Mm-hmm. But again, it was not the same show, but nobody cared. Right. Nobody cared when Jessica came out.
They casted a white woman to play a white woman.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness.
Where was the backlash then?
Exactly. My third favorite would be Luke Cage. Mm-hmm. The fourth...
Where they cast a black guy to play a black guy? Yeah.
Exactly.
Marvel cannot get this stuff right.
By the way, Daredevil is white, and spoiler alert, for those who haven't seen it, they cast a white guy.
I don't know, he's always wearing that red. It was really hard to tell what his race was. So.
Season 2 Daredevil would follow Luke Cage for me, and then, Iron Fist.
Right.
But that's not saying, well, obviously, if it's ranked least of your favorites, it's obviously bad. No.
It's like listing your favorite ice creams.
Yeah.
Just because...
One's going to be last.
Right, yeah.
Doesn't mean that you hate it.
Cherry Vanilla might be number 4, but it made the list.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. Like I said, you don't have to listen to me, but, don't listen to, that stuff.
Now, one thing I have...
Form your own opinion.
One thing I have heard from people who... They are... action fans and fans of other things Netflix has created, but they're not necessarily comic fans. Right. I've heard them complain about the fighting scenes. Is there, what would you say about the choreography there?
I think, also I want to say that, like I said earlier, I love Marvel. Right. Anything Marvel's bringing out now. So naturally, yes, if you're thinking, I am biased. We're just going to get that out of the way.
Yeah. But unless this is their first episode, hopefully they know that.
Yeah. I think, now, could they have polished it up better? Mm-hmm. Sure. But I think we're used to, martial arts fighting in the form of Daredevil, where Daredevil is a lot grittier in his combat. Mm-hmm. In Iron Fist, I think they're inspired by, old Chinese movies, old kung fu shows, where, things look more mystical. Okay. Could they have maybe sharpened it up and make it more apparent? Sure. But I feel like they were going with that kind of style.
Okay, but it doesn't reach, cheesy factor.
Not to me.
Okay.
Not to me. So.
And as far as like with the previews, this one looks like a much lighter show. Definitely lighter than Jessica Jones, but then again, everything is lighter than Jessica Jones. Is it lighter than? Is it? Would you say it's the lightest of the four?
Sure. There is still issues among certain characters.
Okay.
Standout character for me is Colleen Wing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a wonderful actress. I love her now.
Yeah.
And great character. Rosario Dawson comes back in a much bigger role again.
Okay.
So Carrie Ann Moss comes back from Jessica Jones. So there is some familiarity. So if you're really hating it, don't worry. You'll see your familiar faces.
Yeah.
I would say sure it's lighter, but not by much.
But only by comparison to the other.
Sure, yeah, by comparison, but
it's not as like the Marvel movies compared to DC movies as far as lightness goes. So.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, yeah.
So as far as quality, because you've watched other Netflix shows besides the Marvel stuff, correct? Yes. As far as that kind of quality level goes, would you look at this, like if somebody gave it to you on DVD, would you look at it and know that it came from that same sort of production?
Yes.
Okay.
Netflix is becoming kind of like the HBO, where they can get away with certain things. I'm not just talking about Marvel shows, like all their shows are getting away with things. So there are some things, sure, you would see. It's like, oh, well, I can tell this is not. You can at least tell it's not ABC.
Right. Yeah. You didn't catch an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. by accident.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's my 2 cents, people, on Iron Fist.
Well, if you had to rank that one by itself, like 1 out of 5, 1 being what did I watch, which obviously you won't, and 5 being I'm going to rewatch this at least once a month, where would you put it?
I'd say this show's 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're glad you watched it, but
like I think I even said it the last episode I was in. I thought Luke Cage was a fantastic season.
Yeah. Not gonna rewatch it.
I haven't rewatched it since.
Yeah.
And I will say it's a way better show for at least first season than Iron Fist. But
okay.
But again, I haven't rewatched it.
Now
I've only rewatched Jessica. I think I'm still in the process of rewatching Jessica.
Yeah.
Like I've watched all 13 hours.
Jessica Jones is a very difficult one to watch.
It is, but it was a great show. But again, just because.
I don't mean difficult in a bad way, just because of how they hit you emotionally in it compared to the other ones.
Yeah, and just because it's a great show doesn't mean you can just watch it over and over.
Right.
So rewatchability, it's a factor, it's a variable, but that shouldn't be the be all end all.
Yeah. Now, do you think with ones like Luke Cage and Iron Fist, do you think they've left room for a sequel between that and the Defenders, or do you just see it going all straight?
Oh no! If you watch Iron Fist, not that it opens the door immediately for the Defenders.
Yeah.
But let's just say that's the next step in the collective story.
Right. Yeah. So there won't be like Iron Fist 2 before that. Yeah.
No.
So okay. Yeah, I think Daredevil's been the only one to have that luxury because it came out so early.
Again, just like with Iron Man in Phase 1, it's the only one that had sequel.
Yeah.
In that phase, it's the same. There is advantages to being the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you set that precedence, and then you can do kind of what you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents, people.
All right.
Go what you will.
So now we're going to go down.
It's morphing time.
We're going to go down to the detention hall.
Yes.
And hang out with the Mighty Morphin Breakfast Club.
Yes. Before the episode, the Beard told me that he had a lot more questions about the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
So instead of...
Because I'm more familiar with the franchise than I am with Iron Fist.
So instead of giving another, synopsis... And you can people probably can guess it from the previews.
I was about to say, yeah.
Let's just go straight.
If you even have like the smallest bit of knowledge about Power Rangers, I'm guessing it's teenagers. They get powers, they morph, they fight bad guys.
Yes.
That's the synopsis right there.
Yes. So instead of giving a lowdown of it, let's just go with questions.
Okay, so let's go first with the real life stuff. So we have Bryan Cranston. We have who played Alpha 5?
Bill Hader. Elizabeth Banks in it. We have Amy Jo Johnson. Yes.
Makes a cameo, and so does.
By the way, not throwing shade here.
Yeah.
But
throw the shade.
I'm not throwing shade because I know how contracts work.
Yeah.
And I know how filming can work.
Mm-hmm.
But I was fortunate enough to meet Amy Jo Johnson when she was in Savannah for the film festival. Did I ever tell you that?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure you told our audience. But
okay, well,
we've talked about it.
Well, I just said it.
Yeah.
And I asked her, after I got the whole, hey, can I get a picture? And I really enjoyed you when I was a young kid.
Yeah.
The next question I asked was, so, I'm sure you're aware that there is a Power Ranger movie coming out.
Yeah.
Do you have a cameo? And she said no.
Oh, she lied to you.
Lied to me.
Or maybe her cameo hadn't been filmed.
That's what
yet.
Well, like I said, I know how filming works. And,
Yeah.
Cameos can be shot anytime.
Yeah.
Like,
literally. I mean, like to the last day.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the shawarma scene in the Avengers. They shot that after the premiere of the Avengers.
Yeah.
So the first people who saw the Avengers that very first time, there was no shawarma scene.
Right.
So, you can literally film a cameo at any time.
Yeah, because Chris Evans actually had time to grow a beard in between there, because the way he's facing is to hide that.
Yes. And B, contracts.
Yeah.
I am under 2 right now that I'm not at liberty to say, but when they come out,
you'll be blabbing it to everyone.
Blabbing it to everybody. Yeah. But so I get that, but I asked her directly.
Yeah. And we also get the original Tommy.
We do get Tommy. Him is a little different. I met him, the last time I met Tommy, Jason David Frank, was 3 years ago in Atlanta. And this was like when they literally just said, hey, we're going to make one.
Yeah.
That's it. No way, we don't.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Eventually.
There's a pool of people working on a story. We don't have a director. We don't have cast.
And as fans, none of us believed him. Yeah. We wanted to, but we didn't.
So, the studio said that. But given that, I was like, okay, well, it sounds like a possibility.
Yeah.
And I asked Jason David Frank at his panel. I said, so, there is a movie happening. Please tell me you're going to be a cameo.
Yeah.
And at full honesty, because, again, it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
At full honesty, he said, I would love to, but it depends on, them.
Yeah, because as much as he is part of the Power Rangers, he does not own the franchise.
Yes. But he was nice enough to, reach out to me and give me a hug at the panel. So that was nice. Good. But unlike Amy Jo Johnson, I asked her that in November.
Yeah.
So that was not that long.
So either it hadn't been done yet, or she was under the
contract.
Not
blaming her. So again, not throwing shade, but just like to point out that I asked her. Yeah. She said no.
And since this is a spoiler full cast, how were their cameos?
Huh?
How were their cameos?
Very quick.
Yeah.
Very, very quick. They don't even say anything.
So no actual importance into the storyline?
They are Angel Grove residents who witnessed the big battle.
Okay.
So they have no particular importance. It's not.
So it's like Jimmy Buffett in Jurassic World.
You actually see them though.
Well, you see him. He saves 2 margaritas and.
Well, a clear.
Okay.
Unlike they witnessed the aftermath.
So like with the Jimmy Buffett, and you have to know he's going to be in there, and you have to know exactly what he looks like to see him. But with these 2, you'll be like, those people look familiar.
Yes, there is a good solid shot of them.
Okay.
Clear, because they're looking at the wreckage of Angel Grove.
Yeah.
And, the camera goes on them.
Okay.
So, you at least know, well, there's something important about this because, why are we looking at these people for a second?
Now, another cameo / product placement that we'll get into more when we get into it is Krispy Kreme.
I went to Krispy Kreme right after the movie.
Yeah. Did you get one of the actual Power Ranger
I got 3 of them.
Yeah.
I got 3 of them.
I've had them as well. I like the little candy lightning bolt. Because when I first saw it, I thought it was just icing or something they put on there. But no, it's like a little piece of candy.
I will say it was blatantly obvious in the movie. So, little synopsis here. So, during the dinosaur age, that's when the Power Rangers first came to Earth to battle Rita. Rita's goal is to gather the Zeo crystals, which already I'm like,
so connecting other shows.
Whoa, Zeo crystals. We didn't touch. There was no touching in the Zeo crystals until way later in the show. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. So she wants to gather the Zeo crystals of all the life inhabiting worlds. Because I think they said, that brings life to Earth and Zeo crystals. Okay, sure, you're right. Yeah. All right, whatever. And the original Red Ranger was Zordon.
Right. Okay.
So I remember Bryan Cranston went on Colbert last week dressed as the Red Ranger. I was like, oh, cool. Little did I know. I was like, oh.
Yeah, there's a connection.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, naturally, again, they become Power Rangers. You just awaken, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
She wants to know where the Zeo Crystal is hiding.
Mm-hmm.
The Zeo Crystals are under the Krispy Kreme.
Of course. The only Krispy Kreme in Angel Grove.
The only somewhat, not even that, the only franchise you even see in Angel Grove.
Okay.
There is, like, derelict schools, buildings, or diners. The only thing that is, like, nice in Angel Grove was the Krispy Kreme.
Wow.
So, needless to say, like...
And we'll definitely once we get more into the plot, we'll get into what happens to Krispy Kreme.
Well, if you ever watch Power Rangers and see what happens to Angel Grove week by week, shouldn't surprise you.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
anything.
It's not the safest place to live.
Yeah.
So Bryan Cranston.
Yes.
Who is... unless you're like a fan of everything he does, you either know him as Malcolm's dad,
yes,
or you know him from Breaking Bad.
Yes.
So I'm guessing this is not the Breaking Bad Bryan Cranston in this.
No, his Zordon portrayal was different than what you would be used to from Zordon.
Okay.
They showed more of a selfish side.
Okay.
Because, again, plot. I'm not going in order. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
For those that's still listening, I'm just saying it as it comes to mind.
Yeah.
We're
also going more based on what I'm asking, so it's not really... We can't blame TeeVo on this one.
So, as I said, Zordon was the original Red Ranger.
Yeah.
Or, at least in terms of the story.
Yeah.
He was the Red Ranger, and
for those who don't know, somehow, Red Ranger is typically the leader of the group.
Until Tommy comes in.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Then you get Pretty Boy Trump's leaders.
Yes. So, he was battling Rita. All the Power Rangers have been killed except him.
Right.
And he orders Alpha 5 to order a meteor strike on Earth, which is what killed the dinosaurs.
Oh, makes perfect sense.
But he took, before they died, I guess he took all their power coins and buried them.
Okay.
So one day that the Power Rangers will rise again.
Yeah.
And they do, but he's not very happy with who he got. Unlike the original show where he said, Alpha, give me 5 teenagers attitude. Yeah. And he was like, yay.
And he gets 5 teenagers with very little attitude.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's get into, you mentioned Alpha 5.
Yes.
Who got a bit of a makeover.
He did.
From the original.
Yeah. Bill Hader sold it.
Yeah.
As a still, when they released the photo of it, yeah, it looks stupid. But
yeah.
When you see it, again, not...
Now, is he more... I know he doesn't look humanoid, but does he act more human than the... Because the original was very cheesy, like 50s robot sort of thing.
No. I mean, it was alien, but he did, like, speech mannerisms was definitely human.
Okay. So,
but he interacted better with the Power Rangers in that way.
Okay.
And yes, he does go, I. But not as corny as, I.
And not as much, I would assume.
Twice.
Okay. So twice for a 2-hour movie versus every time he got a chance in the show.
Yeah.
It's definitely much better.
But it was obviously a nod to, that.
Yeah.
But going back with Zordon, so his real plan, until he becomes, like, the Zordon we know, his real plan was to get Power Rangers to open the morphing grid so he can come back to life.
Okay.
Didn't matter about...
So it was very selfish.
Yeah, it was like, doesn't matter what, you guys do. I just need you to get the coins to open the grid.
Okay, so even though we see Zordon as this big good guy leader...
Yeah.
He kind of fits in the gray area a little bit there.
Yes, at first. But, but again, it's a movie, there are tropes to follow. He obviously... doesn't do that.
He has to become the good, good head eventually.
Exactly.
Anyway, yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, it is nice to see that there were some ulterior motives to what he was doing. So, without getting too much into Rita, this Rita is different than the television show one. She's more hands-on.
Yes, and I appreciated that. Mm-hmm. I would have, however, I'd have no problem with the portrayal.
Right.
But
she wasn't Japanese.
She wasn't. I have no problem with the portrayal or anything, or how they, different spin on it. But like with Bill Hader, I really appreciated just the 1 or 2 times, like, I.
Yeah.
Now, even though Elizabeth Banks' Rita did say, make my monster grow.
Yeah.
She played it very, like, the quiet, like, almost like the horror movie villain.
Okay.
It was silent. and scary.
Yeah.
And it was cool for a while.
Yeah.
But she never screamed. I would have liked to see just like the one moment where she went original Rita and just yelled.
Yeah.
Like, make my monster growl!
Right, yeah.
Again, I have no problem. I mean, it worked effectively for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you want to hit that nostalgic bone for me, saying it was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But I would have preferred just,
So if they would have named her character something different, kept the look and everything the same and kept the character the same, but named her, Margaret,
Yeah.
would you have liked the character more if you weren't comparing it to original Rita?
That's a tough question.
Okay. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for the tough questions.
Good.
Yeah.
Make me think of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like at the same time I would have expected still an original, an old character.
Okay.
So
some of the campiness without being overly campy.
Well, I think they did well with Alpha. Like I said, he didn't say it like the sputtered out.
Yeah.
He just said ay.
Okay.
Like he's watching the Rangers.
Yeah.
Fail at their training. He's like ay.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness.
So it fits in the scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when Rita was summoning Goldar,
Mm-hmm.
and Goldar was being huge.
Yeah.
I think it would have made sense to go, make my monster growl!
Yeah.
Instead of saying it to a giant foot.
Yeah. And to get into Goldar a little bit, just going from the production stills, this is a different Goldar.
Whole different Goldar.
Yeah.
Whole different.
Yeah.
Whole different.
Like, unless I knew that I was looking at Goldar, I would not.
You also, I feel the same.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Okay.
For the purpose of that movie, it served well. I think that one would fit your previous question.
Okay.
Would they have named
him different?
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But
Okay.
because maybe they specifically said Goldar, it was a little like, okay, but, I'll take it.
Yeah, because I always liked Goldar as a character in the show.
I mean, but the only time you ever see Goldar was the giant monster.
Mm-hmm.
Whether there is a Goldar that is the size of regular people, we don't know.
Okay.
So that could open the door for maybe, the giant monster Goldar is like the monster giant kaiju version of Goldar. Maybe there is a Goldar,
right?
Just not. Maybe we haven't met him yet.
Okay, so for part 2,
maybe. I like to think of it that way unless they say, "Oh no, that was the only Goldar you ever get." Oh well, okay.
Yeah, and I hear we're missing some of Rita's lackeys like Finster and I can't think of the pig guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Big guy and old guy.
Yep. Yeah.
But I hear they do make a cameo in one of Trini's scenes as action figures.
If they did,
Easter egg.
If they did, I didn't catch it.
Okay.
We'll get to the portrayals of the Power Rangers in a bit.
Yeah.
No, but there is no lackeys. There is the Putty Patrol.
Yeah. Now, do they look like the original?
No, they're. Yeah. I don't know why they're called the Putties, because they were more rocks than anything.
Okay.
So they were very aged putties.
They've been left out in the sun too long.
But much like the original, hit them in the center, and then hit them in the center, they'll go down.
Yeah. Now, Bulk and Skull.
No.
We don't have them.
None. You have a bully, but
right.
It was just a generic bully.
Okay, so they didn't even try to combine the characteristics.
Nope.
Okay. So, any other minor characters that the audience might want to look for?
No.
Okay.
It was pretty straightforward, especially if you're well versed in at least the first Power Rangers.
Yeah. So, what order do you want to go through the Rangers?
I just say one. I'll give an overall feeling of the movie now.
Okay.
And the ghost we call Mike doesn't agree with me on this.
Oh. I like how he's the ghost now.
Yes. Well, we discussed it the other day, and to him, this movie hit all the nostalgic bones in his body.
Okay.
Me, not so much.
Now, what's the age difference between you and Mike?
3, 4.
Okay.
Yeah. So we pretty much watched the same thing.
Yeah. Closer than you and I are.
Yeah. Yeah. It hit there, but it didn't go. It didn't tug on me as much. It was like, oh, that was cool. Oh, that was nice. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It didn't make you want to go rewatch the original show.
Well, it made me want to rewatch in a sense of when I saw the new Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
It's like, loved it,
Mm-hmm.
cool, but if you did make me say which one I like better, I'm gonna say the original Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
Nothing against the new one,
Right.
but if you're gonna make me choose,
Yeah. And we live in the internet world, so everybody's going to make you choose. You can't.
Again, old one wins.
Yeah.
Now I know this isn't the same deal where they're not exactly trying to remake,
Right.
but if you're gonna at least ask me which one made me feel more nostalgic, well, yeah, it's gonna be the old one.
Yeah.
So, but overall, I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
One, I have 3 big critiques.
Okay.
Is first, they did the DC thing.
Mm.
The movie's really dark. And I don't mean dark in tone, but literally dark.
Okay.
Like, they shot a lot at night, and the command center is not very well lit.
Yeah.
So, the movie was just dark.
Okay.
And it bothered me because the original show is based on these colors.
Yeah, it's very bright.
So, it's based on colors.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a distinct absence of color in this movie. Again, not to make me hate it,
Yeah.
but let's just say I was thinking of that a lot.
Yeah. Well, even my daughter, who loves the Pink Ranger in the original series, she has a little toy of the new one, and she goes, "Oh, that's Purple Ranger."
Exactly.
Like, no, she's pink, but no, I
Exactly.
I see what you mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe when they do the sequel, maybe shoot more in the day.
Yeah.
Or maybe get a different command center. Well, now that you're successful Rangers, maybe you can afford lights.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Just putting that out there.
Yeah. You can afford an electric bill, so turn them on.
Exactly. Second critique,
Mm-hmm.
and I hit it, I guess, my overview.
Mm.
I didn't feel like I was watching the Power Rangers.
Okay.
Whether it's a good thing or bad thing, up for interpretation. But I didn't I think it does go back to the nostalgic thing. I didn't feel like I was a little kid. I felt like, okay, well, this is a new grown version of Power Rangers.
Okay.
Ish.
Yeah.
But there were things that I wish they could have, done more to make me feel like it. In the story, we all know they morph into Power Rangers.
Yeah.
In this movie, you have to be worthy enough to morph.
Okay.
So they didn't morph until the last act of the movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that didn't help me. Not saying I don't mind, like, origins, because, in the original show, they were basically the happy-go-lucky kids. Now they're superheroes. Yay!
Yeah. And with the show, also, you have longer to introduce characters.
This time,
and all that.
they gave flaws to each of the characters.
Okay.
Which made it interesting to get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when we're watching a Power Ranger movie,
Yeah.
they need to be Power Rangers.
Right.
I'm sorry
if you were watching The Breakfast Club,
Yeah.
then that's fine.
I'm sorry if I'm contradicting other reviews I've given, but for that,
Yeah.
I enjoy that they made Jason out to be the high school jock who cracks under pressure, potentially, being the guy, being
Okay.
the dude.
Yeah.
Billy is autistic, so he's on the spectrum. Kimberly is the mean girl that did something horrible, doesn't want to be the mean girl anymore. Zach is...
This sounds like you were literally describing The Breakfast Club.
Yep. Zach is the emotionally shut down kid who you find out is because his mother is dying from a disease.
Okay.
Trini is the kid that moves from town to town and has trouble with fitting in, so she decides she doesn't want to fit in with anybody.
Okay.
That's all fine and dandy.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, Power Rangers, so
Yeah.
you need to get in those suits.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be 100% of the movie, but it's at least got to be more than the last quarter.
And sure, it was earned when they did it.
Yeah.
You felt like, yay, but were you saying yay or yay, about time?
Right.
You are Power Rangers.
Yeah.
So, that's up for that. And lastly, my big critique is, didn't like Trini.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the actress. I'm sorry, Becky G.
Yeah.
Becky Gomez.
I'm sure she's listening.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If you are though, seriously,
Yeah. We'd love to have you on the show.
Yeah.
defend
yourself.
Defend yourself. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I only know her lightly as a pop star.
Right. Yeah.
So when they said she's in the movie, I was like, all right, cool.
Mm.
The guy who played Jason did that really well. The girl who played Kimberly was really good. I enjoyed her. My favorite Power Rangers movie is Billy, though.
That has been, every review that I've looked at has mentioned that this is a Billy movie.
Yeah, my favorite is Billy.
Yeah.
I was a fan of him. He did like an indie movie called Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl.
Right.
Everybody out there, you should see that movie. If you're a lover of film,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's one you gotta see.
Okay.
And he was also in a show I worked on in Charleston,
Mm-hmm.
Vice Principals.
Okay.
I briefly met him. Just
Yeah.
kind of like, hey, yay, I actually know who you are.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But,
Okay.
you know, not like we had like in-depth conversations.
Right.
But he seemed like a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
Zach was pretty good. You had to get to know him, but
Mhm.
you know, once you kind of see the layers, he became a likable character.
Okay.
And the argument of there are advantages to being first,
Mm-hmm.
because we met Jason first, and then we met Billy, then we met Kimberly,
Yeah.
and we had like a solid moment with Jason and Billy for a good bit. Then they went to the rock quarry where eventually they become Power Rangers.
Yeah.
We meet Zach there, and we meet more Kimberly.
Mm-hmm.
And literally before they find the coin, it's like, oh yeah, who's that girl? It was like, oh.
It's like, oh, we need a fifth person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, her character, and like I said, her character, she apparently goes from town to town.
Mm-hmm.
She does not identify with her family.
Okay.
And could that be because she's an outsider, or, you know, they hinted or outrightly said that she's a lesbian?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
There's been internet backlash about that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But I just didn't feel that maybe if they got a better actress, we would have got, you know, a little more. We could relate or like her a little more. Okay. Because throughout most of the movie, she was very standoffish. She wouldn't talk about anything. She always wanted to be the one that goes away, blah, blah, blah. And it was hard to get a read on her. Okay. And by the time when we get it, it's like, did you put this in here because you have to, or, you know, or, well, what if it was performed by someone better? Right. Sorry. Yeah. But, you know, like, I watch interviews with some of the other cast. Like, Jason went to school for acting. Mm-hmm. He's also Australian. Pulls out a great American accent. Kimberly is English. Half Indian. And she, again, you know, I think she had some experience and training. Yeah. And I don't know what Billy's is, but he just did it well. Yeah. So, you know, you have people who know how to act.
Yeah, and then you throw a pop star in there.
Yeah.
That rarely ever works.
And, you know, maybe if is there room to get better? Sure, but I just didn't feel that. Okay. I offended the ghost of Mike by saying that. Oh, wow. I guess he has something for Becky G.
And that's
fine. She's a pretty girl, but I'm just saying, you know, in the movie, if there was a least, and this time I do mean in a bad way, if there was a least favorite, it would have been Trini.
Yeah, it's like, you know,
not like the Iron Fist time. This, I do mean this one's like, oh, yeah. Oh.
If you had to get rid of one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Where with Iron Fist, you're going to keep them around, just keep them at the end. Yeah. Well, it's like with, speaking of pop stars there, you know, I spent...
and again, not that pop stars can't make good actors.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to be on your side here, because, like, I was always a Britney fan in the 90s. Yeah. Because I was, you know, 11 billion years older than you then. Mm-hmm. But... yeah, and her in movies.
I liked her. I like Britney, maybe in different ways that some people of that era. Yeah,
but it's like as far as her in movies, though, it's like no, she does not belong as an actress.
Yeah. But then again, there's always the flip side to it. Yeah, you know, Billie Piper was a pop star. Yeah, and she's a fantastic actress. Yeah, so
but she's British, so
she is British.
Yeah, American.
Kylie Minogue is a great actress, but you know she's also
Australian. Yeah.
So maybe. We're not saying anything about nations here.
We're just saying American pop stars can't be actresses. Yeah. Or actors. I mean, that goes the male way too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
unless you're Joey Fatone, then you can do comedy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that would be my reactions on the Rangers, at least.
Okay. You said that Billy is autistic. How do they play that?
I'm not put out there. I am not a special education expert or a qualified.
But is it something where they like
psychologists or you know mental health? But they did show like tendencies, like you know.
Okay.
Like
so they don't just like mention it once and then never do anything with it.
They portrayed it well enough that it wasn't offensive in any way.
Yeah. Because that's the one thing I've not heard controversy over.
No, they didn't portray it offensive anyway. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he has if he is autistic, or he did say he's on the spectrum. They never actually mentioned autism,
right?
But they say he's on the spectrum.
Well, we never claim to be family friendly on this show, but never politically correct.
Yes, but there are articles. We're just quoting articles. Articles, say autistic.
Okay.
In the movie, he just says on the spectrum. But
okay.
We know what that means.
Yeah.
So clearly, whatever his character has, it's on the mild side. But he does well with like subtle ticks that he has to do. Like in the beginning, his pencil's got to be in a particular order, and his speech mannerisms. He played well. I don't know if he has anybody in his family that is like that, but again, he stole the show.
Now, does this change any throughout the movie? Because I'm sure there is some character growth between kids in detention and Power Rangers.
It's the classic trope. Oh, we're 5 kids that have to be together. Oh, I guess we have to. Now we love being around each other.
Okay.
I will say the moment for Zordon to change. Going back to Zordon, Billy died.
Yeah.
Yeah, Billy died in the movie. And Zordon, but by that they realized that they are a team. They do care about each other. The morphing grid finally opened, and Alpha's like, "Oh, Zordon's your chance," and then he comes back into the wall, and he gave his life for Billy. So that's when he became the Zordon we know. Okay,
so before that, he's human walking around Zordon? Or?
No, he's still in the wall.
Okay.
Before he died, Alpha transferred his essence into the ship.
Okay.
So that's how he becomes Zordon you see in the trailers. But if the morphing grid were to open again, because it's been millions and millions of years since that happened, I guess he could have came back.
Okay.
Don't know, but we just okay, sure, we'll go with it.
Yeah. So let's get a little bit more into Rita within the plot. So she is more hands-on. What is her past?
She was the Green Ranger. And she was part of the Power Rangers before she betrayed them.
And she gets mummified somehow?
So when the meteor hit, Zordon's body, I guess, went away, but Alpha managed to transfer him to the ship. Everybody else was dead.
Yeah.
Hence why he's the only one.
Yeah.
When the meteor hit, Rita was thrown into the ocean.
Okay.
And I guess she just laid there for millions of years.
Does it ever say really where they came from? Like,
if they did,
sort of thing?
If they did, I forgot.
Okay.
Or didn't see, or they didn't.
So they didn't make a big deal of it if
Not
they did
really.
say anything? Okay.
Not really.
Because obviously there's some alien sort of thing going on here.
Yeah, there is, but, again, they kept it more on Rita. Like, she had the lackey of the giant Goldar, she had a few putties, but, overall, it was pretty much Rita doing their thing. Instead
of just being up in the moon base directing
exactly.
everything. So does the moon base come into
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
And let's talk about the Zords.
That's like an honorable mention critique.
Yeah.
So we know, and again, I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry, dear listeners, for being a hypocrite on, original source to the new source.
Yeah.
But I guess when there are just certain things you just want to see.
Yeah.
So their power coins have nothing to do, at least my interpretation, had nothing to do with the actual animal with the swords.
Okay.
When they morph, they just hold their arms out and the suit comes on.
Okay.
They don't shout Tyrannosaurus. They
don't
shout Mastodon. They don't shout, Triceratops. The Zords reflect, like, the red one is obviously the Tyrannosaurus. I couldn't make out what the yellow or black one was. And I made sense in my mind.
Some people saying that the black one is a beetle.
It looked like it.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking, well, yeah, I don't think they would be Mastodon. Because, well, it obviously showed they were fighting during the dinosaur era.
Right, yeah.
And Mastodon and Saber-tooth Tiger.
They wouldn't have been there.
They would at least not been relevant.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, and so when they morph, it had nothing to do with that. So it bothered me a bit. Because that was the fun, They would take their power morphers and hold them out.
Yeah.
And shout their animal or whatever, in other shows. And then they would get in the power grid.
That's the Power Ranger thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the morphing grid still is a thing. Minus, morphers.
Right.
I think their coins are somewhat attached to them at that point.
Okay.
I don't know how, but like it would know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have. They didn't hold it out and
Right.
do anything. It just came.
Okay. So we can obviously tell they're not trying to sell toy morphers like they did back in the 90s.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Because I had the little coins.
Oh, I had the pleasure of holding an actual morpher from the show.
Okay.
Karen Ashley, who played Aisha, the second Yellow Ranger, brought it to Dragon Con. And it was at her table when you could get autographs and get pictures. And I was like, is this? She's like, yep. And I held it, and I was like, oh my god.
Did you morph when you did that?
She had to show me how to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grabbed it the wrong way. She's like, no! She's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, what? She's like, you gotta grab it.
And you thought you were a fan.
I thought I was a fan.
Yeah. One thing
But it was cool. Again, holding that morpher was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they could sell the coins, but, without the morphers...
It's not going to be the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's just, it looks like a cookie with a different colored candy in the center.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I have noticed on the toy shelves is the swords.
Yes.
So what's that about?
Well, they didn't really brush into it because... and again, like I said, they didn't morph. Mm-hmm. Like, they were the Power Rangers for the whole movie, but they didn't become the Power Rangers we see in the posters and the commercials till the end. So needless to say, they had no time to train with Zords or power weapons. I think Jason's sword just came out, and he was like, whoa, I didn't know I had this. No one else's power weapons came out. You didn't see a power bow or power daggers or, something like that.
Yeah.
It's just Jason's sword.
So they're selling toys for things that you don't even really get to see much of.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as like using the Zords and stuff like that, did they go straight into combining them, or?
I don't think they knew how to do any of it.
Okay.
So they fought Goldar all as the individual Zords. Mm-hmm. And then looked like, oh no, we're losing. But anybody with Power Ranger knowledge, no, they're not. They're about to combine. Yeah. I don't think they knew that was a thing. Okay. I think they were ready to face their destinies in the form of death under the Krispy Kreme.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But then, the Zords combined and became the Megazord.
Yeah. And speaking of Krispy Kreme again, you see product placement all the time on things. Rarely do people let negative things happen to their products. What happens to the Krispy Kreme?
Well, like I mentioned before, Rita wants the Zeo crystals of the planets that have Zeo crystals, and she uses Goldar to dig in the planet to get it. Yeah. We find out that Zeo crystals are buried deep under where Krispy Kreme stands, so naturally,
gotta get Krispy Kreme out the way.
Krispy Kreme had to go away. Not before Rita walks into the Krispy Kreme and has a donut.
Oh wow. So do they keep a lot of like the campiness that we see in the original show? Or?
Very little, and I think that contributes to why I didn't feel necessarily why my nostalgic bone didn't go on full force like Spirit would call Mike's.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't watch it with him, and I that was a good choice.
Yeah, and the mid-credit sequence.
Well, I know what happens, unfortunately, and I got a refund. And I got a free ticket. But so the movie theater I went to started late, like really late. Yeah. And then the movie was about to start, and it stopped. So that was another 5 minutes for them to figure out what's going on. And then they cut the movie as the credits rolled.
Oh wow!
And I went going. So there was a mid-credits scene. I would know, like personally, but I didn't get a whole movie. Yeah. So what are we gonna do about this? Yeah. So I got a free pass for another movie.
Oh, nice.
But I do know what happens. Yeah. Because it is the internet. Yeah. I think I did see like a pirated version of it. But nothing truly, really did happen. It's just setting out for another movie. Yeah. So for some reason, they're all still in detention. Because it seemed like months went by, but I guess not. Yeah.
Or maybe they just never learned their lesson and they're still bad kids.
But I don't think Zach goes to school anymore. Okay. So most of them are still in detention. And the teacher in detention going, oh yeah, we got a new student, Tommy Oliver. And it cuts to his desk. There is no Tommy Oliver there, but it is a green jacket.
Oh, bum, bum, bum.
And I said...
sequel.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the cast actually would think it'd be cool if a girl played Tommy.
Huh. Okay.
And I'd love to hear what Jason David Frank would think about that. I don't think he'd have a problem.
Because he's definitely aged out of that role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously he's not.
Yeah.
Gonna do. He wouldn't do it anyway.
But he played Rangers for what, 10 years?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Different colors.
Yeah.
But I actually wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that would make it interesting. It's like, well, we do know Tommy is going to date one of these people.
That could go with the Trini thing.
So is it gonna be Trini or Kimberly? I wouldn't mind either.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Who would you cast as a female Tommy?
You know, I guess I would just, whether it be male, whether it be female, I'll see what they do. Because, you know, I didn't know any of these people except for Billy.
Yeah.
And that was okay. I was like, well, this should be your starting point.
Yeah.
This should be what make you.
Because they want to make like 6 more movies.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
But this should be like your claim to fame.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to get someone that's established.
Okay. See, like another unknown to come in.
Very well, relatively unknown. Sure. Okay. Why not?
So, before we get into your overall ranking of this movie, obviously there's going to be a sequel. Even if we didn't know that they wanted to do 11 billion of these, and if you can do 6 Transformer movies, why not 6?
The only reason, and I guess going back is, it's if there's no if they didn't morph like they did in the old show, it's like, well. What are you? Are you the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Are you trying to set up for, Zeo Rangers? Or are you just generically Power Rangers now?
Yeah.
So that's where maybe my mind is battling that.
Okay.
Because then, that's why I did not feel like the old show.
Yeah. What would you like to see in a sequel?
Brightness,
yeah.
Tommy, but I think that's pretty...
Yeah.
Pretty... honestly, Green with Evil, that 5-6 episode saga... They did.
Just that as a movie?
Honestly, it's all you need.
Yeah, it really is.
And it sets up perfectly for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because how do they defeat Rita in this movie?
It was really funny, actually. Yeah. So Rita then somewhat fused with Goldar in their last battle. Not that we saw a giant Rita around, but she melded her... She joined as one with Goldar.
Yeah.
And as at the brink of defeat, she comes out and she's standing on Goldar's hand, and basically avowing that, oh, you think this is it? Mm-hmm. There are more people that will come. How do you expect? And then this Megazord just slaps her into space.
Nice.
Not even punch, backhand slaps her into space. And I got to say that did make me laugh.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that.
Yeah. But so she could definitely come back.
Oh, yeah. Well, she is hurling in space, maybe towards the moon.
Right. Yeah.
Oh. But we don't know, in the mid-credit scene, how much time has passed. Whether Rita is controlling the Green Ranger, like she did.
Right.
Is there another force? Well, is her power coin somewhere? We don't know.
Right.
So there's variables, but what I like to see is essentially Green with Evil.
Okay.
Bright colors. We got all the dark origin stories out of the way. Yeah. They're gonna, by the time all of them, including Trini, including Becky G as Trini, they'll be more. They'll know their characters better.
Right.
And when you know your characters better, you have more freedom to play. That's why when TV shows, sometimes the characters get better as the show keeps going on, because the actor has been that person a long time. They are at liberty to do things. Mm-hmm. So maybe by then it'll be like that.
Okay. Would you like to see any other cameos, or would you like to see?
I think eventually, just bring them all in.
Yeah. Would you like to see them in bigger roles, find out that Kimberly is actually Kimberly's mom?
If it makes sense.
Okay. Don't do it just to do it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever they defeated Rita and Goldar, and we see the citizens of Angel Grove look at all the rubble, and then we see Jason David Frank and Amy Jo Johnson. That fit.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's not there, don't force it.
So on a scale of yellow to green, yellow being the lowest and green, of course, being the highest, where would you rank Power Rangers?
Solid blue.
Solid blue, so right there in the middle.
So I enjoyed it, and that's the thing I keep telling people who have asked, personally how I felt. I said, first of all, let me just say, I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. There is not one of me that regrets going to see it.
Right.
Maybe I regret going to that theater, but you know, whatever.
Yeah. But you can't, equate the experience with the.
The movie was fine.
Yeah.
If you're aiming to hit my nostalgia bones, you're gonna have to do a little more.
Yeah.
Not to where, and I get that you're doing a new direction. That's fine, but if you're trying to hit me personally, just shade more.
Yeah.
Just a little more.
So would you see it again in theaters?
Not anytime soon.
Okay.
I don't think I'd see it. I think I got it.
Okay.
If the only reason I would see it again is maybe another theater. Maybe that theater I was watching it, like when we saw Star Trek.
Yeah.
I told you that, was your movie really dark?
Yeah.
Because they turned like the shade so low on Star Trek Beyond. And then I bought it on Blu-ray. It's like, yep, it was the theater.
Yeah.
So maybe the theater did that, and I didn't know. Well, obviously, I would like to see the mid-credit scene.
Yeah.
Will I buy this movie? Eventually.
Yeah. But you're not going to buy it like the first day it comes out on Blu-ray?
I, so far, feeling probably not.
Yeah.
We're going to have to wait for a sale.
Do you expect like deleted scenes and stuff like that? Or do you think they kind of got it all?
I think I got it all. I think I like to hope their deleted scenes are like Marvel deleted scenes. They're deleted scene for a reason.
Yeah.
I know for those who did see the first trailer, there was hinting the Jason Kimberly romance. That's not in there anymore.
Okay.
And I think I read an article that said, like, the director said, yeah, of all the things we did, that was the universally disliked thing about the movie.
Wow. Yeah.
And two reasons. They said maybe because, they didn't want Kimberly to fall in stereotype, oh, she has to have a guy.
Yeah.
But we're all like, no, because she's with Tommy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Right.
We saved that one for later.
Who would you like to see the big bad be in the second one?
It could be Rita again,
Okay.
honestly. I think it could be Rita again.
You don't think they'll go straight to Lord Zed?
I think Lord Zed would be a great mid-credit scene for the sequel.
Okay.
But I think we could see Rita again. It could obviously be the notion of like, oh, I got unfinished business with you guys.
Yeah.
Kind of type of thing.
Yeah.
And then they can hint towards... And she obviously did hint toward bigger things, but they can maybe show Lord Zed or the Machine Empire from the Zero Rangers.
Okay.
I don't know, but I would like to see more Rita.
And do you think we'll see more Bad Rangers in the future?
I think Tommy would be the worst of it.
Okay.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, again, you got advantages to being the first.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are advantages to being first.
But yeah, they could make a movie agreeing with Envy, and everybody would be happy.
Yes.
But I think that about wraps us up for this special edition episode.
Yes.
So, until next week.
Yes.